Today, as you can see here up on screen, I'd like to talk about Litecoin mining once again. Again, talking about one of the best pieces of dedicated hardware to mine these coins, the L3 Plus Antminer. If you guys remember back a couple of weeks, I put out an initial video talking about the profitability with the L3 Plus Antminer, going through a number of different variables, including the price of Litecoin, the price of electricity to run the machinery, the upfront cost of the machinery, and then how long can you mine with these particular pieces of equipment. They have a set hash rate, the overall network hash rate increases, and depending on that ratio, you're going to have a less return with regards to mining efficiency over time. So these miners have a finite longevity, as well as the other variables make a calculation, a payback period, whether these are profitable pieces of equipment or not. So I thought I'd kind of go back in and take another look at the variables to kind of see how the payback period has changed over the last 2 weeks. Again, if you guys remember from my prior videos, you can also mine these coins, Litecoin, altcoins, script coins, with GPUs, but really GPUs aren't really necessarily that profitable. Yes, they can be profitable in the right circumstances, but they're really more of a way to recoup a little bit of money back from a GPU. So if you do some gaming with the GPUs, maybe you do some other type of applications that require a lot of GPU processing. If you use those for mining, that's one way to kind of subsidize the price of the card, your GPU. But really, overall, you're not going to have a very profitable endeavor simply using GPUs. You really need to use dedicated machinery like the L3 Plus Antminer. So let's kind of jump into some of the variables here. The number one variable is the price of these coins. If you take a look at the Litecoin price, since its inception here, you can really see how this coin has kind of had a volatile past here. At one point, you can see getting up $20, $30, and then pulling back here over a number of years, getting down into the single digits, almost down below $1, $1.41, $1.30, then kind of popping up $3, $4, $3.76 there, as you can see on screen. And then really over the past year or so, it's been on fire here, getting up to $50, $60 range, and then at one point spiking up almost up to $400. If you take a look at the year-to-date, you can kind of tease out some of these price fluctuations here. You can see, again, starting off $4, again, just back in March to May of this past year here, kind of gradually trending up here, $40, $50 range, getting up into the $70 range, and then really over the last few months here, spiking up in price. If we go to the 3-month overview, you can really see that in more detail here. Again, the price and the volume really have spiked up here over the last few months. Again, getting up over $300 and really been sustaining it up over $300. At one point there, you can see getting up almost to $400. Has been pulling back here a bit, but again, up to $366.15. I think it was a little bit higher than that, $370 there. I think it got up to $384 if I remember correctly. But really incredible, the price of Litecoin. And really this is all driven by the underlying coin here, Bitcoin. Again, Bitcoin started off pennies, less than $1, up into the $1,000 range with Mt. Gox there. After Mt. Gox kind of had that scandal, it came back down into $200 to $300 range for quite some time. And then it started gradually trending up here over the past year, starting in 2016, moving into 2017. And then really, just like Litecoin here, the price is absolutely skyrocketed here. Over the past year here, or at least year to date, you can see at one point getting up to almost 20,000, 19,758.20. It has pulled back here a bit, almost under 12,000, back up to 15, down to 14. So a lot of volatility in Bitcoin, but it's been really that Bitcoin price that's been driving all of the other prices in the cryptocurrency coins. So quite remarkable what's been happening with cryptocurrency, but Bitcoin really drives the price of all of these other associated coins. Litecoin, Ethereum, even other coins like Ripple, that aren't necessarily based on the same technology, are still driven by the underlying, that being Bitcoin. So again, coming back to the L3 Plus Antminer here, there's a number of different places you can buy these pieces of equipment. Unfortunately, because they are so popular right now, you cannot buy these directly from the manufacturer. They are sold off. And unfortunately, on eBay here, as we can see here, a few auctions that are currently up and running, these machines are now in the $4,000 to $5,000 range. Originally, these were less than $1,600. think right around $1,500 for the power supply, $1650. But right now the price is $4,000 to $5,000, which is really going to impact the payback period, because instead of paying back $1,650, now you got to pay back $5,000. And if you take a look at eBay, there are some auctions that are going for $8,000, $9,000. And if you go to the completed listings history section, you'll see quite a few people bought these pieces of machinery for $6,000 to $7,000. So quite incredible, the price of the machines, not only the price of the coin. And then the other big variable, again, is electricity cost here. If you take a look at the United States, depending on where you live in the United States, it's going to have a drastic difference in the rate you're going to be paying in electricity cost. And it is a little bit of a minor cost with regards to that very large upfront cost of the miner. But over time, it definitely adds up. So if you live in an area that has a high electricity cost, it's going to be less profitable. So let's kind of take a look at some of the mining stats here. Again, the hash rate, the number of calculations that can be done that essentially determine how many coins you're making per particular interval, whether that is per day, per month, per week, whatever that may be, is set here, 504 megahash per second, and that's optimal. Depending on your machine, depending on the life of the machine, it could be a little bit less than that. I read on a few forums that some of the L3 Plus amp miners are only mining at 350 megahash, so you really have to make sure that's optimized and you're getting the full potential out of your machine. Power there, 800 watts, and that kind of goes into the power cost. I kind of configured it as 12 cents per kilowatt hour. That's kind of average over the United States. Again, depending on where you live, you may pay a little bit more than that, you may pay less than that. And then the big determinant whether these things are profitable is the Litecoin price. Currently $240.05. That's really going to be driving the profitability and the number of payback period days that you need to mine with before you pay off the upfront cost and you're making a return on money. Then there's also the conversion between Litecoin and Bitcoin. A lot of folks will simply mine Litecoin and then convert those over to Bitcoin to keep for the longer haul, kind of considering that Bitcoin is the more well-known and probably the safer coin to hold in the longer term. But again, Bitcoin is very, very volatile, so you can argue kind of against that as well. If you plug in all of those numbers there, the hash rate, the power, with the power cost, the price of the coin, you see there the return per day currently is $13.19 with a cost per day of $2.30 for a profit ratio of 305%, which is phenomenal. If we take a look at the return per week, per month, per year here, you can see over 1 year of mining, and again, this is mining 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, you'll make $4,816.35. Now, if we take a look, again, back at the hardware costs again, anywhere from $4,000 to $5,000, maybe more depending on the piece of equipment you buy. The current payback period is 379 days, which is quite a long time. And over time, your machine is going to be less profitable just because of the way the algorithms and the hash rate work with your machine versus the overall hash rate. So that is quite a long payback period. Again, the big determinant behind that is the overvalued hardware cost there, $5,000, as well as the Litecoin price. Litecoin at one point was up $380 or so, as we saw in that graph, almost up to $400. The payback period will come back down quite dramatically because of that. And just to do a little bit of a review as well, week 1 there you can see 576 days. I went back and put back in the hardware cost of $5,000 just because right now, if you don't have one of these pieces of machinery, you can't get it for less than $5,000. On eBay, like I said, a lot of these were going for $6,000 to $7,000, which I think is way overpriced. I don't think you'll ever get your money back on that. So I put in $5,000, kind of right in the middle between what would be a good price and probably not a great price. And you can still see that it's 379 days at week 2 here. So the profitability definitely has been drastically affected by the pullback in Litecoin price, as well as the exorbitant cost of the machinery right now. Way over the MSRP originally from the manufacturer. And that's going to have a big impact on the longevity of mining. So again, the L3 Plus amp miner here. Again, looking back here at the L3 Plus amp miner at week 2, 379 days for the payback period. Not quite sure it's profitable at this point, but again, it's really determined by that Litecoin price. If that Litecoin price goes back to around $400, that payback period is going to dropped dramatically, probably around 200 days. And I would say that's probably a very good time to get into mining. But again, it's very risky. These coins are very, very volatile. There's no guarantee that these prices are going to keep their value over time. There's been a lot of talk about a cryptocurrency bubble as well, one of the biggest bubbles, financial bubbles in history. Not quite sure that's going to happen. I think that's a little bit overblown, but I do think these coins will probably come back in price quite dramatically over the next year, especially with some talk about South Korea regulating its exchanges, shutting down quite a few exchanges. So I think that's going to have not only a short-term but a little bit longer-term effect as well on the overall price of coins. But do I think this is the greatest bubble in history? Probably not, but there is a lot of room for these coins to move up as well as down. So you have to take that into consideration before jumping in with a very large upfront cost with these machinery, with these pieces of equipment. So again, just wanted to quickly go over this. This is week 2, 379 days. Let me know if you guys are mining with the L3 Plus Antminer, maybe with the S9 Antminer for Bitcoin. Either way, let me know. I'm still kind of contemplating whether to jump back into mining or not. I was going to do it a few weeks ago. I was really seriously contemplating it. But with the pullback in the price of coins, as well as the exorbitant cost of the hardware right now, I really don't think it's reasonable to jump in. But who knows? Maybe I'll do it. Maybe I won't. Let me know if you guys are going to be jumping into any of this mining, or you're simply going to be buying coins and trading it more like stock market trading, arbitrage, buying low, selling high, and trying to make your profit that way. Obviously, the hardware costs are a little bit less liquid than simply buying coins on an exchange with the ability to sell those off right away. But again, a little bit more fun, I think, to mine these coins rather than just trading these. But either way, I think it's a very, very interesting investment strategy. So, not to make the video too long, I'll kind of end it here. As always, if you guys enjoy my videos, feel free to like, share, and subscribe. And until the next video, we'll see you then.